Recording in progress. Poobalan, the man, the myth, the legend, the man with the beard, the man with the shaved head, who, if I didn't know any better, I thought would be like the Singaporean Tupac. What's going on, brother?
Wow, great intro. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
great. That was all off the top of the
Off the
dome.
dome.
The
Yeah, that's
dome.
flowing.
Do you like my background? I don't know where I am exactly. That's my dog. His name is Chiffon, and this is
You
my
are
pool.
you are where your higher self is.
Yeah, bro, come on. That's the vibe. That's the vibe we're on this week. We had a nice little chat on Monday in Raffles Place, you and I, Poobalan and Roche G sitting in Raffles Place under a rainbow. This picture is essentially, have you ever seen the Notorious B.I.G. video? I don't know if it's hypnotized, but he's like, I had a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. And this is like where he's sitting something, drinking martinis by the pool. Yeah, something like that. But we're not here to talk about, well, we are. We could talk about Biggie Smalls. This is a cool feature I'm going to add to this podcast. Hopefully it gets, this is like a radio show, my own radio show. Hopefully this can play on YouTube. Hey, Siri, play Notorious B.I.G.
Okay, here's the Notorious B.I.G.
Wait for it.
Fuck all you all.
Oh,
Yes. It's actually been
I think this is the one. This is the song, no? We can just vibe on this for like
trying to call the police on
30 seconds or so.
trying to feed my daughter or something. And all the niggas in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's all good, baby. Drink quick.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
Something happening every day up in the
Hey Siri, stop. So, what is your dream, Poobalan? Where do you see what's your highest, what's your calling? A lot of people like you might go to a bar or something and they're like, oh, like, what do you do? And sometimes I'm just like, what haven't I done? Like, I don't even know how to answer you right now. And I've had a few drinks. Um,
Hmm.
I bought this cologne last year. It's Dolce and Gabbana. You can't see it, but it's like it says the one on it. So when I met you and I'd seen your pictures all over town, for those that don't know, Pubalan is a model. I really thought like this guy is the
And a
one.
financial consultant.
And you're a financial consultant. That's right. Because I guess I'm going to post this on LinkedIn and I want people to know that they can kind of invest with you as well, right?
Not
So
kind
yeah,
of. They can
I know
confidently do that.
you can. Yes, I might
Not
with
kind
you
of.
as well. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a beautiful thing. How big of a part do finances play in somebody's kind of calling and their growth to where they want to be and reach their highest selves?
How big of a part it plays can be quite subjective. For I get reminded about the story of Oprah. She came from nothing, and there's a lot of books and a lot of interviews where she talks about how where she came from, there was no one that had aspirations like her. So obviously it's possible. But how many Oprahs are there? And a lot of times roses can grow out of grass, but also concrete, you know. And money, I guess, to me, is a bit like that. You want to give yourself the ability to grow in the best in the best environment possible, right? You have all your physiological needs met, and you can reach for your altruistic self. However, in a lot of cases, a lot of people that we aspire to be came from nothing. They came from no money. And a lot of times we look at the surroundings that we have in Singapore and we take it for granted because we want it to be the best of the best so that we can be better, which I also I guess fall into sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I need everything to be in place. So to answer your question, money is important. Money does provide us with a very stable mentality and a stable soul. It allows our psyche to be calm. It allows us to know that everything that needs to be taken care of is taken care of. And I can go focus on being the best version of myself or doing things that feed my inner being. And a lot of times people can do both. A lot of times people can't do both. Um, I guess it boils down to how resilient you are, how how in tune you are with yourself to even think that deeply without having all the surrounding elements formed and ready for you.
Wow, yeah. I think the theme of everything you just said to me was or has to do with like ascension, so to speak, right? It's got to do with the belief that you can kind of be somebody in this world. Talk to me about compounding. This is something that I found very interesting. And I think it plays in the world of like believing in yourself and also with money. So if I were to give you, say, like $500 today, how would that compound and kind of build to become more money and give me a greater return in a year or two? And talk to me about like long-term horizon goals for when I reach that goal and what I can do when I reach that goal.
I always like to talk to people about what your goal is. It's difficult to know where the Grab driver will bring you if you don't know where you're going. You can't just get
Right.
inside the Grab and be like, let's go. He'll be like, where? And no matter how
Mm.
fast he drives, you can't, you'll just be on the road, you know? So to answer the question, the $500 can compound to, in this instance, an infinite amount because we haven't defined where the money is being put and how often we um, move the money around when it's put there. Are there strategies put in place to manage that money? So this 500 can technically become zero, can also technically become 500 billion in this instance because those parameters are not defined. Compounding, in a sense, essentially is the growth of something because of its in small increments. So if I work out, I've been working out for like 10 to 12 years now, and
Yeah.
after working out for so long, I've also realized that some parts of these 12 years, I didn't work out at all. Like for a few months when I tore my ACL, I didn't train at all. And even then, it didn't make that great of an impact because the first 4 years I trained 7 days a week. The first
Mm.
4 years, my diet was as good as it can be. So now I can deviate a little bit, I can enjoy a little bit. And a lot of times compounding to me is putting in the work early, sacrifice, and then I reap my rewards later on. Short-term loss, long-term gain. And a lot of times, obviously, we wanna be in our we wanna have fun, sacrifice is stuff. Sacrifice is something that people think twice about if the if the goal is not intrinsic, if the desire is not strong enough. And a lot of times we aspire to be disciplined. We want to be motivated. But the ones that don't require that are the ones that know for sure this is what I want. The other day I saw a picture of Ronaldo's Whoop age is 28 years old. No one's telling him like,
Mm.
bro, go wake up. But there are days where he's gonna be, I'm not feeling it. I'm just gonna go anyway. There's been a lot of times I'm sure that he's had that feeling, but it was overcome by the fact that he knew he wanted to be the greatest. And that's not something that people tell him he had to be. He was like, I'm going to make that choice and I'm going to do everything around me to make sure that I become that. So it compounded into him being the GOAT for me. Um, so it
That's
depends.
beautiful. Yeah, so you're a soccer fan, you're a fitness fan. I'd like to
Mhm.
think that people who want to invest with you or just have a simple chat with you really would find you a really friendly individual, right?
Contrary to popular belief, I had a very interesting conversation about this yesterday because one of my clients and very, very good friends, she owns 5 businesses. She is also someone that I really respect and she inspires me all the time. And she told me maybe you live this life that people aspire to be, but because it seems like you're there, it seems like people can't relate or resonate with you. When I heard that, I was like, wow, that's so interesting because the way I view myself is not that.
Mm.
I always just say I'm a normal guy. Like I'm
Yeah, I've
relatable, I'm
heard you
down to
say
earth.
that. Yeah.
So many times, like I'm just a normal guy. All I know is I don't know everything. And I try my best to learn and apply. And I make mistakes. I make new mistakes. And I understand her point of view because people look at public perception, look at social media, look at Instagram and think, oh, like see me outside and think, oh yeah, X, Y, and Z. I've seen someone else with the same characteristics and they were that. So he has that same characteristic, so he's got to be the same, you know? And until people get to know me, they're like, oh, actually, oh, like, no, I was wrong, or I had a misconception of who you were. So I agree. You probably can attest to this. In our experience, I've never or exhibited traits that would say otherwise.
No, you're very level-headed individual. There's this trend on Instagram or wherever I'm reading that talks about how like the amount of money that you're gonna make in this lifetime also comes down to how well you can kind of regulate your nervous system. Would you say that like you waking up early, going to the gym kind of speaks volumes about your discipline and then how you're able to manage people's money as well? Do those things go hand in
Mm,
hand?
I agree. Yes. Um, a lot of times, money is energy, and money is a tune. Like it's intrinsic to how we feel. How much money we have is how we feel about it. And
Self-worth.
and yeah, and a lot of times when I didn't have much, not saying now I have a lot, but when I had lesser when I was younger, I also felt differently about it. I felt like I wasn't worthy enough of it. I felt that it wasn't for me, and I think when I learned how to navigate my own emotions about money, my own feelings about money, my family's teachings about how to manage money, I believe that these lessons that I've learned about myself allowed me to be more receptive to money, more came, more left, and I became more detached to it. I looked at it differently. I understood what its purpose was. And I guess waking up early, meditating, and journaling have definitely allowed me to be a lot more calm, a lot more aware, and a lot more level-headed in the sense of how I also manage not only money, but my emotions around money, when I have it, when I don't have it, my spirit, when I am dealing with people's money or people ask me questions about theirs. Because all these instances can lead me to act in a sense of anxiousness if I'm not
Mm,
if I'm not centered, because I'm in a position where I'm responsible for others. And
their
to be in
well-beings,
that
yeah, their futures. Yeah.
correct. So I don't take that lightly. And I also believe that because I've acquired the skills to navigate my mental state and my spirit, I'm better able to communicate certain difficult decisions or communicate certain difficult news to people, or even situations where people aspire to be something and I have to say, you know, in this current state that you're going in, it's not going to get there. But
Right.
having the ability to do that, I think I've learned through these mindful habits that I've applied over the years.
Yeah, awesome. You spoke about lifelong learning earlier. You mentioned meditation and journaling, your fitness interests as well. Where are you looking to learn? Where do you go? Do you visit
Mm.
CNBC? How do you constantly keep updated on market trends to help your clients know exactly where they should put their money? Because there's so much going on, right?
Yeah.
There's this big boom in AI. We can touch on that in just a little bit. Yeah, I want to know, where are you keeping abreast of everything?
I'm also very blessed to be a part of an agency that's very homogeneous. We know, and we have a lot of consultants here that are well versed in a variety of topics surrounding money, surrounding finance. And for most financial news, I speak to them or ask them questions. Apart from that, I can't lie, I'm on the internet a lot. I
Yeah.
use the internet in general just a lot. Social media, Reddit, um, actual financial websites and news websites. And sometimes, like you said, it can be quite overwhelming. Sometimes you can be too sucked into it because you form a bias, And I think a lot of times I've I've come to understand that I like to learn because I like to have my thumb on the pulse. I like to know what's up. I like to know what's new. And having that desire has also allowed me to be a bit less biased because my intention is just to know stuff. My intention is
Right.
not to have a preference for the things I know, because I'm I'm in the middle between the company I represent and the people that I'm trying to serve. And I am here to help you make the most informed decision, not to tell you what is right, what is wrong, where
Most informed decision. Yeah,
correct.
absolutely. I
So
like uh I like that slogan, Poobalan, thumb on the pulse. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, because if I don't know what's going on around me, or if I'm not keeping up with everything that is available and new, then my clients will also not feel confident in coming to me, And a lot of
Mm.
times when I share with them something that's new or something that can get them closer to where they want to go, and they do get there, I'm like, wow, that's great, that's fire, because that's all I actually want. I don't really do it because as most people might think financial consultants or insurance agents do for the money. Flashy lifestyles are quite common in the industry. I'm sure it gets a bad rep. And having said that, there are some that do it for intrinsic altruistic reasons, such as I. And
Well, there's
it's
no harm in admitting that. Work with Poobalan. He says things like, "That's fire." You're really one of the most confident individuals that I've met and hung out with. I remember being across from you at a bar or a restaurant, and you had these glasses on, and I said, "Why don't you take them off?" and you said it's okay, we're still connected through the conversation, and I thought my mind exploded because like being an individual that also gravitated towards hip hop and music and maybe wearing sunglasses whilst it's dark out. I never had a comeback for that. And you said it so smoothly. We're still connected, So you have a lot of these little kind of slogans, Poobalan, thumb on the pulse, Poobalan, we're still connected. The other day when I met you at Raffles Place, I met this kid because I was waiting for you, and essentially this kid who was 7 years old said to me, "I like your watch and I like your shoes." And he broke the ice. We were sitting on the swing at Raffles Place, and I thought, what a polite, charismatic individual. Let me talk to you. I can't really remember his name, but then we started talking about future goals and ambitions and that kind of thing, as one does, as I like to do. And he said to me, I don't want to do anything when I'm older, And I thought, oh wow, that's so raw and kind of honest as well, because I'm sure
Hmm.
you love your job and I love my job and everybody loves getting up in the morning and interacting with people, but we're also planning for a day when we can sit back and relax. And I think one of the things that you bring to the table is also the fact that, like, I'm already here, but when I'm there for real at the pool looking over, I don't know where
With
this is,
Biggie playing in the
Monaco.
background.
Yeah, with Biggie playing in the background, blessing us from God. Um, you'll be there, and I think that's a beautiful thing. When I look at you, I do see a lifelong friend, and I feel like a lot of people are looking for that in this day and age. So take that and run with it. This idea for this podcast is essentially called Since Birth. Um, yeah, I asked you this before. You brought up Oprah. I guess, we can kind of end it with the compliment, but is there anything else you'd like to add about where you see yourself or how you got to this stage in life? Because I do feel there are
Mm.
some people that are born with an innate ability. Maybe you can give me an example of how you've transformed somebody's life from when they forgot about this innate ability to shine, to make more money, to live their best life. And then you kind of transformed them and molded them from the idea that they couldn't achieve to the idea
Mm.
that they could achieve. Is there a standout story in your past about somebody who knew they were going to be successful, and then, I mean, yeah, we have one story. I don't know if you want to talk about that individual, but I'm sure you have many other testimonials as well. Could you break down that one story?
Sure. I think I had to preface this with like, I'm not a preacher. I never tell
Okay.
people to do things because I'm here and you are here. And a lot of times when I talk to people that I care about and I love, I tell them, yo, I see you as this big, huge star. Like
Right.
you can do it. You got all the skills. You have the things that people are aspiring to learn. You are a master at it already. And I, with everyone that I'm friends with and I care about, even my clients, I tell them that you trust yourself. You have everything that you need to become who you want to be. And
Mm.
recently, I was talking to a friend. He started a business recently, and he was just feeling overwhelmed with everything that was going on because it's new to him. He hasn't been here before, but been here before meaning that he hasn't had his own company before, but not that he wasn't in the industry that he's owned the business now. He's been in the industry for like 6 years. He's climbed the ranks, and we were talking over dinner and he was just sharing with me how it's so difficult to keep up with everything that's going on because it's so fast paced. And I was like, bro, you got all the things that you need, like you just have to lock in for a little bit and you'll find it. And he went home and then he texted me saying that he felt better. The conversation that we were having made him feel better. And I think to me, that is the best thing I can ever hear from someone that I care about.
Yeah.
And nothing else really matters if I can give people that I care about 2 words or 3 words or a hug or some tips that can bring them this feeling, I'm good. Because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, everyone can learn a skill to go and make them money. Everyone can um sometimes they don't even need a skill at this day and age. You can just you can
Right.
ask and it's given. So to
Right.
me, the fact that my friend, someone that I've known for over 12 years, has had said this, I was like, wow, that's insane. I'm like, to me, also because of who I know I was, someone that wasn't emotionally attuned, someone that was so curt, someone that made people feel uncomfortable by existing, someone that wasn't even aware of how he felt. To me, that showed me also the progress I've made in life, the progress that
Mhm.
I've made internally
Yeah,
as
it's
to who
two-way
I've
street.
become now, right?
Yeah.
So it was also validating for me to know that okay, like I've put in some things in place and I've applied them over the years for me to now be able to hold space for people, make people feel comfortable, make people feel
Mm.
that they can be themselves, come as you are, and I won't judge you, I listen. And a lot of times I think we let the exterior influence our thoughts and our feelings about someone, and a lot of times I have been a subject of many terms just off of how I look. And obviously, we live in a time where that's common and it's easier to do that anyway. And I don't hold it against anybody, but it's interesting when it happens. And when instances like this that I'm describing with my friend happens, I'm like, wow, that is really it. If any day, if that's all that happens, I,
Yeah, Poobalan, he'll give you the tools you need to succeed, or you already have them. Right. Wow, cool. Well, I think you're the swaggiest financial
Mhm.
consultant I've ever met with your glasses and your nose ring.
It's so
It's
important to
really,
see yourself.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
yeah.
important
Well, I
to.
mean, that's kind of like self-worth and self-actualization, right? If you make $1 million
Mhm.
and you work towards your goals and you always wanted a nose ring, that's the time to get it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like, otherwise, what are you working for? Like if you can't be yourself in this world, right? And I think that's a
Yeah.
beautiful feeling. Yeah, I want to plug my little home tattoo
Yes,
as well.
sir.
Boom. Yes,
Hmm.
sir. I got that the day after I met you. I feel like God is always with me, just yeah, just be eating and he's just looking at me like, you got this, you got this. I'm just like, all
Mm.
right. All right. Yeah, that's fire, dude. Any last words or anything else you want to add? I just wanted to have this on record for my YouTube, share it with my network on LinkedIn, Instagram. You can post it up as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, I believe in you, and I think you've always had this kind of light, and I've seen you all over town, and I've done a few things like that too, and I always used to think like, who else is with me here? And then I saw you, and I was like, oh, there you go. And I interviewed you about self-casting and all of that. So, but I also,
Mm.
before we end this, you are like you are a talent, right? What is that? I went on your Instagram the day after we hung out, and I saw
Mm.
that you basically had this like, I don't know, maybe it was real, maybe Kim Kardashian hired you to be a Skims model. But I
Mm.
think that was something you created on your own. Is that
Yeah.
where you see yourself, like the highest level of like you letting your talent shine to the world, like maybe in a Ralph
Mm.
Lauren commercial, or what are your dreams and aspirations in that
Wow.
in that
Okay.
space?
My dreams and aspirations. Well, that shoot specifically was planned with the intention to acquire or be seen by modeling houses or people who are decision makers in this space that I
Mm.
am able to do editorial shoots because that's been a goal of mine for quite some time. And oftentimes when I reach out to these decision makers, um, the conversation about how my Instagram followers are not high enough comes up, or
Right.
that I am not. Yeah, a lot of times it's about engagement, about social media, about not being popular enough. And a lot of times I intrinsically already feel confident. I don't feel that I'm not capable. I don't feel that I don't
Yeah.
think I will look good in that Bottega leather jacket. And I even though I do believe that, I've come to learn after a lot of conversations with some people that they don't know that. Like they haven't never
Right.
seen me. So to
Yeah.
me, I've been in the space for 8 years now. I've been a model. I've been a talent for over 8 years, and I've also learned from the directors I've worked with, the producers I've worked with. So I put together that shoot so that I can show people whoever is looking that I'm here. I've
Yeah, I
been
think
here
the
and I've been
world is
telling them
looking, by the
you.
way. Yeah.
And a lot of times, yeah, so that was the intention. And I guess to answer your other question, the goal is to be right now. I want to do more editorial shoots, a lot more covers of magazines, storefronts, put me in a BV, in a Prada. Like I want to
Yeah.
represent for people that look like me and for people that didn't think that we can do this. We didn't know that this was our space or there was a
Like
space
ASAP
for us.
Rocky on a Bottega, I think he did like a YSL kind of thing, right?
Bottega,
And it
yes,
was
he did
like,
that one.
yeah, yeah, it was a big deal for like a rapper. I think Kanye started that, but I mean, it's been going on for a while. We
Way
don't have
before
to
even.
discuss rappers. We discuss models
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. I had another question. I can't remember. Oh yeah. What does all of this mean to you? Like I can see that you're a very
Mm,
well put together individual. Like you didn't have to wear normal glasses. You wore glasses with a
mm.
pink shade, which I find
Right.
also very interesting. I had a line in one of like my songs that I wrote like a few years ago, look good, feel good, like the world is kind of
Mm-hmm.
yours. Is that what it means to you? Like when you dress better, do
Mm.
you also feel like more charismatic when you step out of the house? How does it kind of interplay with
Mm.
everything we've discussed, like your finances, meeting people? Do you think there is a correlation between how much effort you put into your outfit and how far, you go in life, how well you
Oh,
succeed?
for sure, for sure. I mean, how we dress and how much effort we put in are totally different things because that's all subjective, right? How I look
Mm,
versus how much effort I put into it. These glasses, for an example, are pink. They are prescription lenses.
right.
No, a lot of people don't have pink glasses.
Yeah.
I did that because I thought it was cool, and I always, since I was young, just had this individualism about me. I just want to
Mm.
do things my way. Sometimes, obviously, it doesn't. You shouldn't do that. Sometimes just
Why? Why
try and
shouldn't you
listen.
do that? No, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Mm, I mean, anything in excess is negative. So
Really?
always in
So if you had
moderation.
$1 billion, that's going to be negative? I don't think so.
I mean, there will be sacrifice for the $1 billion.
Right.
So is the sacrifice worth it? Like, am I happy with the sacrifice? So I think it's always about that. It's not a clean slate, black or white, it's good and bad. It's yes,
Mm.
okay, I got $1 million or $1 billion. I can feed a lot of people, but like now there
Yeah,
will come worries and concerns with this $1 billion. So yeah, and I do believe how you put yourself together, how you present yourself, like for me at least, does give people a perception based on their experience. It does not represent me or what they think because
it's
they are looking
interesting.
at me thinking X, Y, and Z. But until you come to the source and speak to it, you actually don't know that truth. So I also have come to learn how to present myself in a way that is not creating more of a barrier to entry. And this is an
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
lesson that I learned in my first year in the business because in the first year of my business, I didn't wear shirt or pants. I just wore a t-shirt and jeans and Air Force
Mm,
Ones. And someone I was speaking to earlier at the time, she is also Indian. She said, "We are already a minority. Why are you making it harder for yourself? Go inside
right.
the room and then do your thing." And then when the conversation was happening, I was quite rebuttative. I must admit, I wasn't really open to listening. But when I went back
Yeah.
home, I spoke to some other friends. And then they were like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I spoke to other friends, obviously, who are also brown. And they were
Mm.
also, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of times we want to be ourselves and we prioritize that. However, we don't realize we haven't entered the room to make the noise. You can do that
We haven't
when you get
entered
there.
the room, sorry, too?
We haven't entered the room to make the noise. We're outside shouting. Why?
Right, right.
But like if I'm inside, then it's fine. I can make my own room now. You can't do anything. So I think a
Yeah.
lot of times after the conversation, I started looking at things a bit differently and I realized there is a limit or there is an extent as to where and when I extend this individualism,
Mm. Wow. I
and
mean,
a
I
lot
had
of
an
times,
idea for you. You could wear like a Ralph Lauren shirt, maybe, or like these Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and then you could
you
advise
mean
your
all the
clients like,
brands, you
no,
mean,
no,
yeah,
no, but
yeah,
that's
yeah.
my point. Like,
Mm,
essentially, investing in the stock market is also investing in these brands, right? Like, what's the parent
right.
company that owns Ralph Lauren or LVMH or one of these things? If they launch like a new product or like Meta, for example, if they launch those glasses and maybe their sale price is 256 and that's going to bring in more dollars, would you or would you not invest your client to maybe say like invest in Meta at this point in time? Is that like a tech advancement or is that going too deep into like, you
No,
know,
that's fair. I think
yeah.
in terms of giving advice, in terms of giving investment advice, obviously there's a lot of considerations depending on
Mm,
what your goal is, how long your time horizon is, whether you have sufficient safety net currently. So
mm,
regardless of whether the price of the stock goes up, it should not be the only indication of whether you should invest in it.
interesting. Okay.
But in some degree, you want to invest in companies that are going up or profitable. There is some truth to that, yes. But that is not
Yeah.
the only thing that should be considered.
Okay. Well, you know best, Poobalan. And I just want to say you always have a friend with me. I also have some pink glasses. Woof.
Oh, let's go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Different generations glasses, I think it shows.
You can be your individualistic self with me. That's all good. All right, man. Cool. I'll see you soon. We can have a chat about my finances. And I really appreciate you doing this, man. Since birth, I think you've always been a charismatic dude. I have this picture of me since birth, which is maybe where the idea came from, since birth,
Oh,
born
wow.
to be,
Oh,
oh, you
wow.
can't see it. There you go. In the
Nice.
red
Oh,
book.
yeah.
Oh
Look
yeah,
at,
since birth,
okay, let's go.
born to be a baller.
Look at that. Look at the bow tie, crispy red.
Yes,
Yeah, we can
sir.
definitely speak about how you can reach your goals soon, and hopefully your testimonial will be up on, if it all makes sense, my Instagram page where I talk about finance and give away free game, so that people can share their experiences and form healthier money habits.
Boom. Yeah, I'm gonna tag you, and this has been wonderful, dude. Till next time, brother.